Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. In this video, I want to clarify something about the trans-theoretical model that you're going to find on starting on page 69 in chapter 3 of the ACE uh, textbook. And the reason I'm doing this is because I've gotten some questions from students. Now, I'm always asked questions about one part of the trans-theoretical model, and that's why this is actually really important. Because some students have not understood exactly what the TTM entails. Now, this may be you, and if it is, then you'll definitely understand why I'm explaining this. The trans-theoretical model generally, now this is just widely understood in the fitness industry, involves the idea of stages of change or the stages of change model. But and that is correct, but that's only one part of it, and that's why I want to do this video to kind of help you out, because I've had students say to me, what is all this other stuff that they have in here about the trans-theoretical model? I thought it was just the stages of change, pre-contemplation. And the answer is yeah, but that's only one of four components to the TTM. And here's what ACE wants you to know, that the TTM, or the trans-theoretical model of behavior change, and by the way, they do have the health belief model and the self-determination theory. These are all, they're fine, they're good, they're used in clinical settings. There's a number of other health behavior continuum models that are used in the fitness industry. The general one that's used is the TTM, or the trans theoretical model, and in particular, thus the stages of change. ACE, however, wants you to know the other components to it, which is why it takes a little bit more time to study and memorize some of this information. So that's why I want you to understand that it's not just the stages of change. Most people can probably knock those out anyway: pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance. Um, and so those are the standard 5 stages that we use in the fitness industry to describe the psychological construct that a person is basically living in. Remember, it's not just behavior. Just because just because a person is in preparation, not action, doesn't mean they're actually not working out. No. Generally, people that are psychologically in this mental construct called preparation stage of change, most of those people are already exercising. That doesn't mean they're not exercising. The action stage does not define when a person starts to exercise. Oh no, remember, these are psychological. So this is why, and I'll say this. You probably in the fitness industry don't need to know anything other than that anyway when it comes to actually working and understanding the human behavior. However, ACE wants you to know all four of the components. They are the stages of change, which, if you don't know them, that's like the most fundamental part of the TTM. You got to know those 5 stages. And they've given you table 3.1 to help you, right? This is what people that are in pre-contemplation are like. This is the way they're thinking, behaving, whatever the case is. Contemplation, go to page 72, and it gives you the traits or the behavioral characteristics that the person demonstrates, right? So a person that is in the quote pre-contemplation stage are unaware or under-aware of the problem, or believe that it cannot be solved. What's the problem? Um, you're sick, you're unhealthy, yada, yada, right? You smoke. That's a problem. Those are behaviors that you should not be engaging in at all. So the pre-contemplation stage, or the mental construct that a person is in, this state uh, of mentality that, I guess you want to say it like that, are in, is defined by this particular trait. They don't care. They could care less. They ain't even aware. They work out, exercise. What are you talking about? That makes have no interest in that whatsoever. I don't even think about it. You may want to reconsider your nutrition and your eating, right? The pre-contemplative individual is just going, what are you talking about? I'll eat whatever I want to eat. I like the way I live, and I feel fine, and that's the pre-contemplative individual that does not eat well according to the known standards or acceptable standards, right? Which is probably all over the board, but eating tons of processed foods, yada, yada, that's not good. That's the individual in pre-contemplation. Okay, enough of that. That's the one component that most trainers can get away with. You're good when it comes to the real world. However, there are other components to the trans theoretical model. One of them is, or the second one is the processes of change, and that's going to be on table 3.2. Yes, so now you got to come over. Do you need to memorize all of this? Well, I would say sure, because it's not that difficult to memorize. Because again, the memorization process in any endeavor involves a pen or a pencil, and just write it down. Consciousness raising. Now, I don't know about you, but I read the term consciousness raising and I kind of go, okay, well, I think I can just like off the cuff kind of figure out what that means. Now, finding and learning new facts, ideas, and tips that support healthy behavior change, raising consciousness. So you could write that down, of course, just write a word or two. Dramatic relief. There you go. Self reevaluation. By the way, dramatic relief is experiencing negative emotions because the negative behavior, in other words, being inactive and eating like crap, is perceived to be problematic. Then feeling relief from deciding to change. I don't exercise. I eat Burger King every day, right? And I feel negative emotions because of those behaviors. However, and I know that's a problem because everybody tells me it's a problem. Then I feel relief when I decide to change, like when people hire a personal trainer. Whew, they're relieved that now they're going to deal with the problem of not eating well and not exercising. That is called dramatic relief, relief from the negative emotions that is associated with the negative behavior. Okay. It's just sort of definitional. It has little to do, for the most part, with what a trainer deals with on a day-to-day basis. Self reevaluation. I think that speaks for itself. Realizing that change is an important part of one's identity as a person. Go through the rest of that list. And you'll see some terms, concepts here that maybe are a little bit more challenging to memorize, but just read through them. You can generally, from a memorization standpoint, just use one or two words in the description box to get it. Of course, they're giving you the mover method stuff in the back. But the third component is self-efficacy. This is a critical part, or at least understanding what self-efficacy is, and then decisional balance. Now, ACE gives you these four components of the trans-theoretical model. Yeah, I know folks have a challenge trying to memorize self-efficacy, or at least the sources. Remember, stages of change, you got to know those five stages of change, processes of change. It's a good idea to kind of know and understand those. Self-efficacy, the key to self-efficacy is number one, understanding what it means, and and then the sources of self-efficacy, and those are past performance, experience, right? So experience, vicarious experience, living things through others, or at least seeing others doing things, and then feeling like you can do it, because if you can do it, oh, I can do it. That's called vicarious experience. Verbal persuasion, right? People giving you positive and feedback and encouragement. A physiological state appraisal, so emotional arousal, pain, fatigue, emotional state, and mood appraisals. So there's physiological state appraisals, meaning your physical, your body, what's happened inside you physiologically, and then there are the emotional or mood appraisals. Now you're dealing with the emotions. And then imaginal experiences, imagined experience, positive or negative, of exercise participation. Just look, you got to memorize this stuff, folks. I'm not saying you're ever going to use it or that it even makes functional sense in a personal training world. Some people would beg to differ, but there's really only one in the real world that we even care about as trainers, and that's past performance experience. Have you done this in the past? Great. You're going to be able to do it now because you've already done it. That's about it. You do need to know this from a testing perspective. How much you ever going to use in the real world? You ain't got time for a lot of this. Not when you're training people. But the past experience, performance experience, by far the most powerful source of self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is basically, it's not self-esteem. It's not self-esteem. Self-efficacy is this state of understanding that you can accomplish things. You can get things done. If you start something, you can finish it. People with high levels of self-efficacy are not arrogant, and they may or may not have high self-esteem, but they know they can get stuff done. The reason I know I can make videos like I'm doing right now is because I've done it 100+ times already. I have past experience doing it. I know I can do it, and I know I can get it done. I know I can start a book, finish it all the way through because I've read 1,000 books. Past experience. That's one of the things that we really try and draw and pull from when a potential client comes in. That's why I'm saying in the real world, the only source of self-efficacy that really is anything we can deal with is generally going to be past experiences, right? So, but these are other ways that people feel like they can increase or that they can accomplish things is when they do. And it is for some people, it could be really powerful to see somebody just like them, same age, everything's the same, and there they are training and working out and eating well. And sometimes that could be the piece that kicks them over the edge, and now they start changing their behavior. So even though the past experience is the top-notch way to derive self-efficacy, the other ones can be good as well. Decisional balance checklist, sure. Read through it. It's all part of the trans-theoretical model. That's why I'm doing a video so that you guys can kind of get a better, hopefully a little better idea of how you need to navigate through this. Remember the 5 components of the state or the 5 stages of change. The components of processes or those things that assist with change or how somebody goes through change, processes of change, the self-efficacy component, and then the last is decisional balance. So I hope this was helpful. If you have questions on it, just leave it in the comment section, or at least write understand if this was helpful and you did understand what I was trying to say. And did I say it? Let me know. I would appreciate that. Of course, hit the notification bell, share, like, all that other stuff. So let us know how we can be of assistance because we want to help you pass the ACE exam, and you let us know how we can help you out. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Bye.